that's already up? Is that how they know?
I believe so. I believe
Yeah.
they do get a notification like, hey, new episode. Because I know when I watch it, every time I
Mm-hmm.
turn on Amazon Prime, boom, Chosen Kin pops up,
Yeah.
and it will say new episode. Kind of like how Netflix and everybody else does.
Right.
You could tell when there's new stuff out there, and but there's also chosenkin.com where you don't have to wait for Amazon Prime. You can actually go on chosenkin.com
Yeah.
and uh and watch the episodes. You know.
You're listening to Dash Radio Discover with Cisco Reyes. All right. So you were saying that you're also involved with Unsolved.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Unsolved on USA. It's about the unsolved murders of Tupac and Biggie Smalls.
Speaking of like the unsolved murders of like Tupac and Biggie, do you have like your own idea of what happened to Tupac?
You know what? At this point, with everything that has like been out there,
Yeah.
there's so many theories before these things that you probably could have came up with, from Suge to the Crip he beat up to Puffy, anything like that. But now through these different docu-series and stuff like that, they're by the end they're gonna solve it, and I can't tell you what it is. But
So are you telling me that, okay, so this unsolved that you're involved with, that you're also a part of, so you're saying that at the end they are going to solve it, like really, really solve it for real, where they're going to arrest if there's anybody to arrest, or there's no arrest but it's solved? Because I thought I heard that, I thought I was like reading or somewhere that I think they had found the gun that was used, but then now it's missing.
yeah, I mean, there's just so much janky stuff going on with this case, and that's kind of what's cool about this show, is actually they show all that stuff that's been going on the investigation side.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't LAPD bring in Orlando Anderson? Why didn't they interview or investigate this? Why didn't they follow this trail? But the guy, the EP, executive producer Anthony Hemingway, and everybody involved, they're really doing a great job. Like, if anybody out there watched the People vs. O.J. Simpson and how they followed the lawyers in the case, they're following the investigators, the detectives in the case, on this one. And then they're flashing back to 93, 94, 95, when, what was going on between Tupac and Biggie, when they were friends,
right,
when they were hanging out, when they started beefing, what roles did, Suge play in that? What roles did Diddy play in that?
Do you think Diddy was involved also?
You know what? I mean, this is just my personal opinion. Diddy does not strike me as anybody who's going to mess up his money.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then, being from New York myself, we need reasons to just, murder, crime, stuff like that. Out here in the West Coast, and I hope nobody gets mad at me, but I just feel like, if you wear the wrong color, then, you can catch yourself in some hot water,
Yeah.
But a guy from Brooklyn ain't going to walk down the street in the Bronx and be like, in danger.
Right.
Or vice versa. But here, somebody from Compton could walk down Slauson and it'd be some problems.
Yeah.
And I just never understood that. But I guess that's that, that territory.
It's crazy because, it's just how I grew up in Linwood. And, where I grew up, it's the actual street that I lived, Palm, Palm and Oak. And that's a Crip gang.
Yeah.
And so if you would walk over like 2 blocks, you're already in Compton.
Yeah.
So from Linwood to Compton, so it's like that, so of course there was like constant drive-by shootings, where I lived. So anytime you heard that, you would just have to like hit the floor.
Yeah.
It was like normal for us to just hit the floor every time there was like drive-by shootings.
Hey, you guys know how to drop it like it's hot.
Yes, we do.
But it's just crazy to me. Like, if my cousin lived over there, I can't mess with him because he's in that territory. but he's family.
Yeah.
Like I could potentially be killing family and not care. You know, it's just nuts. But I mean, I don't know if that really goes on right now. Like if that gangbanging mentality is that strong right now, which I know it exists, but I know back then it was heavy.
Yeah.
You know, it was going down.
So you're saying that you don't think that Diddy was involved at all. So basically other.
I just can't see it, man. You know, I mean, unless he got involved in order to sell records and then it just got out of hand.
Right.
You know, but in order, like ordering a hit.
Yeah.
Nah, he just doesn't. You know,
just,
I mean, Diddy went to Howard. He was a dancer. You know, I mean, that's some serious stuff once you ordering hits on people.
Yeah.
You know.
It's just crazy because, like, you know, it's still, for me, it's kind of hard. Do you think that sometimes, you know, people always speculate and say, oh, you know, what if Tupac's still alive? Can you imagine if that were to happen?
I tell you one thing, a lot of these rappers wouldn't exist because the bar in hip hop would still be so high, you know, and then all these shootings with the cops would be addressed on a whole nother level. A lot of these cats ain't using their voice to, you know, make a statement or to fight different issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got Black Lives Matter movement, but like Pac was a movement in himself.
He was, yeah.
You know, and they were scared of him. So,
yeah. Like, for me, I feel, in my opinion, that he's like one of the greatest rappers.
Yeah.
I just love Tupac.
Yeah, he's a revolutionary. He's definitely what his parents raised him to be.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that's another theory. You know, you got the government. They were afraid. This guy can motivate a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And they're afraid of people like that. So, you know, that's another theory. Like, hey.
It's crazy. Like, now when you hear so many different things, you know, especially now how everybody keeps saying, and I know people don't like this word, but, you know, everyone keeps talking about like fake news.
Oh, boy.
I mean, if you really like think about it, I mean, it's kind of true. Like, whatever you report is whatever the news media reports is whatever, you know, the powers that be want them to report. And sometimes it does make me wonder when you hear of like terrorism that happens. It makes you wonder, like, at least for me, it puts that little question of, did our government have something to do with it, but they're blaming somebody else for it?
Well, they got their own agenda.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, it's just crazy.
How are they going to push their bills and their policy and their new laws without scaring you enough to believe that you need that policy, bill, or new law? You know, it's like there's so many things like this whole airport thing. I mean, come on, really?
The shutdown in Atlanta?
Like they're gonna blow up the plane with a bottle of water. I can't bring my water. Like I wasn't allowed to bring my hot sauce back from Puerto Rico. I'm gonna blow up the plane with a bottle of, you know, hot sauce. Like, come on, you know. But they got you so shook, but they've got to do it so extreme in order for you to buy it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Be like, okay. Yeah, something could happen. I don't buy it, but I do know they have an agenda to push, and they use our fear by doing it. You know? It's like your parents when you were little. Don't do this or this is going to happen. You know?
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you're like, you're a virgin till you're 30 because you listen to your mom. Like... Well, I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Some people out there.
Some people are like, you know what? I'm still going to do it. Let me see what happens if I do it anyway.
Yeah.
I know I was not one of those because my parents were super strict. They were very strict. I was afraid of my dad, you know, especially because my mom was like, okay, you know, when your dad comes home, you're going to get it. And my dad would always get off work at 4:00. And I just remember, like, anytime, like, if we were in trouble for whatever, looking at that clock, and I was like, oh, my God, please don't let it, like, I wanted that day to last forever. I didn't want 4:00 to come around because I knew that that's the time that my dad clocked out of work, and he was on his way home.
You're getting an ass whooping by 4:30.
Yeah, so with my brothers, like, they already knew it, and I was like, oh, my God, especially my brothers, like, they always, you know, misbehaved.
Yeah, same here. I'm the last of 7, so I already knew.
We were 7, too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was like 3 girls and 4 boys.
4 boys, 2 girls.
What? No, but wait, you said 4 boys and 2 girls?
So I'm number 7. So 5 boys, 2 girls.
5 boys. Okay.
Yeah. I'm number 5.
That's crazy. I know, it's like nowadays you don't have that many kids.
Nah, people, they want 1, 2, none.
You know, I feel it's not just like for me. I don't feel it's just like it's not because like the money thing. Nowadays, like kids are just way too advanced. They don't respect their parents like they used to back in the day.
They ain't getting that ass whooped.
Because you're not allowed to. But you know what? It's not even that. I think things have, like, everything is so much more advanced. And this is like the one thing that my mom has said to me. My mom, and coming from my mom, I was like very surprised. She had said that you need to change with the times as they change. Because, when I was trying to, when I was like trying to, not educate, when I was like trying to, what's that word? Discipline. When I was trying to discipline my kids, my mom was telling, she's like, look, she's like, you cannot live by like the old school rules the way we raised you guys, because that just does not work. You could still follow like the what is it that I'm trying to say, the values. You could follow like the values that we taught you, but you have to change with the times, according to what it is now, because it's not the way it used to be. It's like things have changed, and everything is changing. And when you look at it, it's true. It's like we didn't have internet back then. Now we have internet. We didn't have cell phones. Now we have these cell phones. So kids nowadays are more advanced. They're forced to, to just grow so quickly and not become adults, but deal with adult things. And this is why we have so much, there's like so much stuff out there, like negative things, like suicide, which is crazy. Like I've never, ever, ever had like so many kids committing suicide, and it's just all because of social media, and it's just crazy. So for me, it's like I have 2 kids, and I'm just like, like I would not, if I didn't have kids right now, I would not want to have any kids at all, because I just see that it's just getting worse and worse, with like trying to raise kids because of that.
I mean, it definitely is, and I think one thing that's missing is just the repercussions of what people are doing. Like you said, like with the whole cocaine at the concert, it's like people actually, maybe they were doing it, but they did it on the low. They did it off in a bathroom. They did it somewhere else. Like there's no repercussions in these people's mind, the youth mind. So they're like, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. And what are you gonna do? Give me time out? Like there's only so much time out, you can give. The only time out that really ever works is jail. And, but I'm telling you, me getting my ass whooped definitely worked. It worked. And I didn't want to do things anymore, and then also none of these kids have a strong foundation in like, God. So, like I always thought, even when I was doing something wrong and I knew I wasn't going to get caught, he was watching. I was like, oh, he's watching me. He's everywhere. They told me he's everywhere.
It's true.
And I would actually sometimes not do stuff, because of that. And then also with the thought of an ass whooping in the background, I maintained, like I walked the tightrope, but I never went overboard. I was never too reckless. These cats is reckless.
They are. It's so true. It's like you have the fear of God. And see, that's why for me, it was important to instill like family values for my kids. And especially more important because of where I came from. The way my parents raised me, I wanted my kids to be raised with the same values. Because with, my kids' father, I don't want to say that they didn't have family values. It's just that it's different. They weren't raised, they didn't have, this routine of like going to church, from what, getting to know my ex-husband. Mm-hmm. They didn't have a routine where they would all go to church as a family. They didn't have none of that stuff. So of course, like, when I was dealing with my ex-husband, we were married, he didn't have that fear of God. He would always, like, if he did something, before you would even ask him anything, he would say, I swear on my mother's life, I didn't do this. or I swear on my mother's life, this is how this was. And knowing goddamn well